everybody, it's me, Bernice Loman of Loman Creative Services. Also the event host for the CBO Summit, which is Christian Business Owners Kenya Summit 2023. And I wanted to just talk about the CBO Summit. I got a question the other day. Someone asked, what is the CBO Summit? And although I thought my message was clear, someone asked. So, I thought I'll just start talking about it more for those who don't know what the CBO Summit is. It's a vision. It's a vision. I like to say a God idea, because I had not really thought about gathering Christian business owners, those in ministry and marketplace. And but God gave me the idea to gather other Christian business owners and to merge, ministry, business, and to share the importance of Deuteronomy 8:18, which is He gives us the power to get wealth. And the summit began. It stemmed from the meet and greets we used to do. So in Savannah, Georgia, a couple years ago, maybe about 7 years ago, there in Savannah, Georgia, we used to do what you call Christian business owners meet and greets. And what that detail was, it was Christian business owners, and those who, Christian entrepreneurs, those in ministry who wanted to start their businesses. It was a chance where we got together and, just network and just see, who does what. And the very first one, actually, the very first gathering was actually, it was a bowling alley. I believe Keisha, she mentioned gathering to see who knows what inside the Facebook group. So let me backtrack, right? So there in 2000, I believe it was 2015, I started a Facebook group, and it was called it still exists, Christian Business Owners Fellowship. And the purpose of that Facebook group was I didn't see Christians gathering on Facebook, not as much. There was I think at that time there was one group, and even that group, I felt like it was a group of Christians, but it wasn't what I believe was needed. And so I created what was needed, what I felt was such a great need. And it was not just to gather socially and just share business, right? And it was a group, just to share, our business. Like that's a typical, Facebook group where people got their events or got their sales, and, they share the discounts and things like that. But what I felt, what was so needed was Christians gathering, but knowing who each other is, how to connect with each other, and how to build relationships with each other, how to build relationships and partnerships, and gather like, hey, so close that we know each other. We get to really support one another. And that's what I felt like, was such a big need for the community. And so I created the Christian Business Owners Facebook group. From the Facebook group, I laid out the foundation. I laid out, the purpose of it. The clarity was, this is the group. This is the purpose of the group. This is who the group was for. And, it was great. We shared a little bit about ourselves and business, and it grew. Thank God that it grew. But then Keisha mentioned, hey, let's meet. Let everyone meet. And the very first event was a bowling event. It was a bowling. We met at a bowling alley. So spouses, children came together, families, community. And from there, I thought about, okay, we are Christian business owners, right? So it would make sense that, okay, we do know we're getting to know each other, but how about let's just bring the business part of it? Like, what do we do in business now that we are forming of what, who we are as a community and family, more of the social side. But what I was finding, and even now, is that there are a lot of resources that people don't know, even in the community as a whole. But then I found that also there were Christian business owners that there were so many resources that they did not know. And so I hosted the meet and greet. And the purpose of the meet and greet was not just to know each other, but to bring experts and those who had those great resources to help build the kingdom, the businesses that God has given us. So I collaborated and got connected with other Christian businesses in the area. I connected with Melanie, who was hosting the talk show part of the CBO meet and greets. And so the foundation part was to bring more talking conversations, those challenges, those issues, real conversations that most people might not talk about in church, but we were able to talk about that from an entrepreneur and business standpoint. And then there was a time where we got to fellowship, and that was the fellowship part, and also to eat, have a good time, and to build relationship with other Christian business owners. Like, it was genuine. It was, it wasn't something like a money scheme or nothing like that. It was really real. My heart was, I literally fund meet and greets literally like for years went by, and no one can say that they paid for a meet and greet. Like, I paid for the caterers to come. I mean, these are hundreds of dollars. I paid for the, and we didn't take up offerings, none of that. But I wanted to sow. I really felt like just to sow into Christian business owners. And, I mean, it was amazing, from the caterers. Good. We ate good. Okay. The conversations that played a part in it, it was amazing. And the meet and greets from the hotels, thanks to Janae, she allowed us to, get her hotel. I purchased a hotel space, and, so we were able to continue to fill the room. The conversation grew, the talk of the social media streets, people were sharing about it. And, I think too, not only the grace of God, but also the skill that God gave me for, marketing and sharing the word, and connecting and building relationships, that all played a part, which allow it to continue to grow. And it grew that I literally had to stop the sponsorships from coming. People wanted to be vendors, and I'm like, hey, we're like tight on, like, I remember we reached up to 100 registrants, and the space only held like 50 people, right? So I'm like, no more, I cannot take anymore, right? So it just grew. And from there, I just thought, okay, let's do this summit here, because the summit would allow more time to structure and plan out and map out, to see, with this, what we're doing, what's happening is there are a lot of Christian business owners in the community. And not only the community, but some of everywhere. We've had people to travel all the way from Kenya, Pastor Thomas, New York, Pittsburgh, Tennessee. I mean, it was just crazy, y'all. It's just, God was so amazing. Like, I'm still at awe. Like, wow. So, the summit idea was, okay, because the meet and greets were growing so rapidly, I thought, why not just have a once a year thing to gather? We still did the meet and greets, y'all. Still was putting out funding for the meet and greets, the caterers, then later hiring photographers, because I was doing the photos and the videos, and I started hiring a photographer, a videographer to come out and take some shots, because I couldn't do it all. And so from there, I just we just worked it. We just made sure there was a going process. And from there, the summit came. The summit was to gather Christian business owners to pray, network, and to support one another, and to be educated. It was prayer, networking, and education. So in the meet and greets, the education part played a big part, because we brought in experts, or those who were in the community that were experts that people didn't even know about. Like, oh, they did this, but we gave them a spotlight so that they can share with everyone there. And so what the summit did was it allowed an expansion of the meet and greets. So the small piece that we normally get with the meet and greets was like 2 hours, but the expansion of the summit was 6 hours. So with prayer, networking, and education, that's what the summit is a large network, a large community of Christian business owners who want to pray together, intercede, partner, collaborate, who want education on how to be more equipped in the marketplace, and to connect with those genuine people who are across the world. So one thing I definitely can say about the summit was the summit's vision has always, and I thank God, has always been global. It wasn't now that you see that we're in Kenya. In fact, I think about 3 years ago, we did, although it was a hybrid, we did our very first hybrid way before pandemic, maybe 5 years ago, way before the pandemic. We were hybrid, and we hired Joystick. She came from Atlanta to come and do the video stream. So it went out to a virtual audience while we were in person in Savannah. And we had a group for even Kenya people, the Kenya community, who got the information that we were sharing. So God had a plan way beyond what you guys see with, the Kenya. For years now, I've always had like a passion to do more of mission, more of people who to connect with those and give resources to those who I feel really need it the most, and to change. I'm all about change. Like, literally, I think I'm all about change. I don't like wasting time for something. I want to be clear. This is it. This is what we're going to do. This is the impact. We're going to ask God to bless it, to increase it, to enlarge, and let's flow. Let's go with it. And that is what I believe God is doing with the CBO Summit Kenya, is that he's bringing all these resources and people together, like-minded, who want to see change, who want to help, who want to, give resources that we've been given out for so long. God is allowing us to give it to a group of people who need it most, and who we believe that it's going to be a change. And so that's what the summit is: to gather, to pray, to network, and to educate, to bring change to the marketplace. And to really educate people. A lot of people don't know what they have inside of them and the network that they have within them, and the importance of the Deuteronomy 8:18, where he gives us the power to get wealth. And my question always have been, what do we do with this power? What are some things that we've been wanting to do that God has placed inside of us, but we don't know? We haven't made those connections yet. So this is what the summit is. And so I'm excited about it. So for those who've been asking, what is the summit? And I've seen it. It's a movement. It's a movement, a God movement, a global God movement, inspired by God. And it's under the umbrella of Loman Creative Services. And that's my company, Loman Creative Services. We are a one-stop shop, simple branding, marketing, and tech. Everything comes in the scope of media marketing, branding, and with tech. And I'm just grateful because, even my team member, one of my team members is in Kenya. So it all works. God is just moving. I've been to Kenya and established some amazing relationships. And I could just see how God is just connecting us all. And even the people that I've met here in the US, how God just, he's just connecting us. And literally this is God, So if anybody asks, what is the summit? What is the CBO Summit? I'm sharing my heart with, what the summit is, what the CBO Summit, what the CBO Summit is. And, one thing I could say, and I'm going to let you guys go. One thing I can say is that God has allowed, even during the pandemic time, for us to still sustain, to still be sustainable even in the pandemic time. We shift at one point 100% virtual. Then we were hybrid. Then we're still growing. And to be able to spearhead a team of people that will be going is like so remarkable. It's definitely a God thing. Like, it wasn't my first thought. Like, I'm still like, God, what are you doing here? It's God. Like, y'all just don't know when God gives you something. Oftentimes it's not something you normally would do. It wouldn't be, but he gets the glory. And so I encourage you guys, if you're listening in, you watching this, I want to just encourage you, support us, support what we're doing. It is my vision to make sure that we do get enough funding so everything is covered. We're not worried by any finances or any expenses, but that everything is paid in full, that we're able to go, and it turned into a mission trip. Like this whole Kenya thing turned into a mission. Pastor Thomas, he asked, could we have certain days to do certain things, and from prayer hubs, from revival there, from conferences beyond the summit. And I'm like, this is mission. Like, this is beyond a one-day summit. This is, we've already started connecting through Zoom with them, hosting classes, prayer groups, prayer hubs. Listen, this is definitely mission. And so I'm just the yielded vessel. So you guys pray with us, pray for us, support, not just in prayer, but if you have financial support, we do ask for that so that we can carry on the vision even more, and that we go there with all expenses paid. And I'm believing that y'all listen, y'all gonna hear a story. So blessings, y'all.